Okay, everybody, back to Sex, Drugs, and Opera, episode 4.
Here we are again.
This is your episode for May 19th, 2018, in case we're still doing this in the future. I don't know.
What the fuck?
Mike, if you people could fucking see what we're doing down here at the moment.
I did bring a light down. Normally I schlep a light down that we used during the taping, and we didn't have it, so we had to go over to my storage unit, and it's Christmas time.
All Mike had was Christmas lights and candles, so it's very romantic in here.
That's awesome.
And
by the way,
he brings a lamp.
By the way, last week was the super early recording, and this time's the super late recording.
Yeah, Mike had a show. What show did you just do?
We did I know it in German, Zachamakopoulos.
I was going to say, did you just fucking walk off stage? Did you know
what
you
the fuck
just
is
sang?
it in English, though, when they sing it in English?
I don't fucking know, man.
The Macropolis case from Janacek.
My
My least favorite Janacek opera so far.
Wow.
I've done like fucking 4, and this one can be fucking boring. I mean, the music's cool, but come on.
All right, Mike, I want you to crack.
Oh, you were really interested in that, weren't you?
Sorry,
you were ready to move on.
I actually had my headphones off because I had to take my hat off.
Okay, enough with the excuse.
Can you get a beer, man? I really need a beer.
Am I going first this week? I went first last week.
You've gone first every time, actually.
That's okay, so go for it.
You sure?
Yeah,
All right,
come on.
I brought the cool pack.
I've got
with
some
me.
give and take here. I've got give and take.
All right, hold on.
What kind of trust is that in your partner?
My beer is the Bishop's Finger.
Fucking right. Look at this big motherfucker.
That's
a big motherfucker.
You don't have to drink it all.
What are you talking about? I don't have. Well, yeah, I don't have to, but I'm gonna.
Look,
After a show, dude, I'm a beer drinking son of a bitch.
I had an ex back in the day that would bring me flowers after a show, and I hated that shit. The best thing after a show for me is
Bring me a beer.
Is a beer and I don't know, something to eat. I'm always fucking starving after a show, man. Look,
what the fuck are you gonna do with flowers after a show? Come on,
cheap,
hey,
buddy.
there it goes.
We can't both drink it at the same time. There's a lot of dead air there.
Listen to me drink. Listen to me.
All right,
do you
listen.
think you can hear it? 1 second.
Yeah, that's not pleasing.
Ugh.
That's not
I just
aesthetically pleasing.
choked on that.
Look, everybody, I got to come clean. I got to be honest with you. Mike and I are busy as fuck in June and July, so the next 5 or 6 podcasts we're actually going to be recording early and releasing later. And I think that's important because a lot of the shit we got going on Instagram, like with the treble clef stuff and whatever's going off, it might be a week or 2 off. I think it's good for them to know, Mike. What do you?
No. Look, play with open cards. That's what I say. Play with open cards. But look, that also excuses us if some traumatic world event goes on and we don't mention it in the podcast. It's because we don't know.
Because today is actually what day is it? The 10th?
Oh, maybe
8th or 9th. It's Father's Day in Germany is what it is. Himmelfahrt, okay, Ascension Day. Which is that even a holiday in the States? Do people celebrate that?
Well, the religious people do, but it's not like.
But it's not a government holiday.
No. It's a fucking government holiday here.
Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Mike.
Thank you, man.
Mike took his kid out to see his first movie. How'd that go?
That was awesome. We saw. It's Peter Rabbit.
Yeah.
It's a live action animation. Blah 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 blah. I expected it to suck. It only kind of sucked.
Did you
but
bring?
It was pretty good.
Did you bring any morals away from that? Did you learn anything?
No, but I took all kinds of stuff into the. I will buy some stuff there, but I am all about filling your pockets with as much shit as you possibly can. Hey, we're making eye contact this week. Look at that.
But you're higher up than me because you got your mic on a box,
That's
so
right.
I kind of feel different. The thing about driven movie theaters is, as an American, it's awesome because in America you can't sneak shit into a movie theater.
I do, though.
You can try, but they check bags and stuff. In Germany,
I've got all
you can just walk
kinds
in
of
there.
places to hide it.
I saw the
All
Avengers
kinds
the
of
other
crevices.
day, and you can just walk in there with a backpack, like with Coke, popcorn, marshmallows, whatever the fuck you want, man. There's no one stopping you.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Look, before we get into it, we also got to come clean. Mike, last podcast you said something that some people didn't like.
What was that?
You called Guinness boring, man, and we got some letters from some Irish people, man. They wrote in.
I didn't mean
offended, man.
Listen, I didn't mean
Come
Guinness.
clean.
But wait, I didn't mean Guinness was boring. We said that we were going to get like interesting sounding or like microbrew beers. Now look, Guinness. I used to live on the shit, and I called it the breakfast beer because that used to be the beer I went to after a hangover. I said, there's one cure for a hangover, and that is a fucking Guinness early in the morning. And I still swear by it. So I brought that.
So the name it was boring because the name wasn't interesting.
That's right. It was boring because it's not like Flurka Dirk Micro Brew
Like the
from East
bishop's
Kabumfuck,
finger.
you know? I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the bishop's finger. Of course that's fucking interesting for the
Look,
radio. But Guinness was the right beer at the right time for that
It was
podcast.
hearty. It got me
So
going. It picked me up.
mea culpa, people, for you Irish fucks out there. I love Guinness. I love it.
Do they say lads in Ireland? The Irish lads, or is that just?
I think you're thinking, yeah,
England?
but no, Letty is like Scottish, right?
Look, we're
And
digging ourselves
they're not
deeper
all
in a hole.
fucking. They're not all fucking leprechauns, you racist shit.
Listen, we're not talking about opera, and that's fine because if you people are only interested in opera, Kay, you gotta
Then
come on. Expand your horizons a little
seriously.
bit. What is your hangover cure? Do you have a hangover cure?
I told you Guinness. I swear to Christ, I used to have that. I used to have that in the morning after drinking a lot.
That
I
was
found
it.
it smooth. I found it like it goes well with eggs. What can you say?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
a good hangover cure. But Mike's got a dangerous thing he likes to do when he's drunk.
What the fuck, dude? Why are you bringing that up? What I do?
All right,
You tell it. Go ahead. You can tell it.
it's too late now. We're down this road,
we
man.
have to do it.
Oh
What
man,
the fuck?
I like. Okay, Mike likes to take a bath. All right.
What I do is I get so fucked up that the room is spinning all over the place. And for some reason, the first thing I think is, oh man, I need to hop in the bath. And of course, I'm tired as shit. So sometimes I'll wake up and it's only my lips just precariously pursed above the top of the water. I should have drowned like 5 fucking times.
Man, I don't know. I'm also a fan of bass. Hangover cures. I got nothing, man. It's I get up, I eat something greasy. Okay, hot shower, rub one out.
That's
and
right.
some Tylenol. Then you're good to go.
Rubbing one out in Tylenol.
Look, Mike.
You're doing a chaser with it.
I'm gonna hit you while you're down.
All right.
You also said Ravel said something, and it wasn't Ravel, man.
That's right.
Someone wrote in.
That's right.
Do you
I
remember
got
who it
corrected.
was though?
Yeah.
Was it Bartok?
It was Bartok.
Yeah. With the what was the quote? The
Competitions are for horses, not not musicians.
yeah.
I got fucked hard on it. Wait, can we look to see whether I'm pretty sure it's
I
Bartok,
looked.
but if we get it wrong 2 times in a row,
No,
this girl's gonna have a conniption on us.
Nah, it's Bartok. I looked it up.
All right.
But I just whenever people I'm
So
bad.
mea culpa again, people. People are shitting all over
Hey,
me.
look,
this
we'll
week.
tell you. Okay, it wasn't Paul Rudd in 8 Mile, but I never looked who it was. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I also got that actor wrong with Benicio del Toro or something like that. Remember? Who gives a shit? I can't remember what we did
Nobody
in the
gives a
last
shit.
ones. No one's listening.
Last thing I want to say before we get into it is
Some embarrassing thing about me? Is that what you
is,
wanted to say? Because I don't know if you've fucking done that yet.
if you guys have never seen Mike naked, man. No, look.
That is embarrassing.
People lately have been writing us messages with questions and this type of stuff.
Thank you, by the way. That's
but
great.
also, we really thoroughly enjoy people telling us like criticisms and what we did wrong. I love. We haven't gotten any hate mail yet. The no one woman is the closest one to
No
hate mail.
one.
But
Fucking
we got
no
to let
one.
her go. But
I won't let her go. That's staying deep in my heart for
look,
a long time,
in
dude.
these days with social media and the way it works, liking a photo and that type of shit is worthless. It's
Right,
worth
but she
fucking
took the
nothing.
time. She took the time to message us and say nobody got it right.
Yeah, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would appreciate it if she sent. You know what? We got to leave this, but she should fucking send us a cast because somebody else sent us a cast this week and it was fucking right.
Yeah,
It
we've
was
gotten
great.
a couple good casts sent to us. Please write us because the writing a personal like direct message these days is the internet version of a handwritten letter. You know what I mean? If you just like a photo, I don't know what to compare that to, but are you reading my fucking notes, man?
No, just keep
This
talking,
is
dude.
my diary, all right?
Man, you've got the attention span of a fucking flea. It's
This
ridiculous.
is the pot calling the kettle. What's that? No, like, listen, no, but really, the personal messages, that's a handwritten thing because people rely too much on like, I don't know, likes and this type of shit with photos. And I mean, that's actually what we agreed we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
Was kind of people finding the idea of being an opera singer more interesting than what it actually is. And a lot of that comes from, I guess, when you decide to be an opera singer, you have no experience with it. You don't know what it is, right?
Yeah, I think it also has something to do with the way people get into opera singing. You know, you find most of the time people can name one particular singer that got them. You say, why are you an opera singer? And they'll say Pavarotti. They'll say Jesse Norman. They'll say this. They'll say that. And every time, because that's kind of your way in, you have this larger-than-life persona. And you see interviews of them, you see the way they act on stage and everything, and you just, you want to be that so badly that almost becomes what people are shooting for instead of what you actually do on stage. And it's a weird thing to see.
Well, and it's a weird time we're in because there's not a lot of advice out there because the people that are kind of higher up in the career or have the platform to be able to discuss this did not grow up in a time with social media. I mean, social media is a little bit of a played out topic. People talk about it so much, and it's one of those topics I don't so much like enjoying because enjoy talking about, but it's actually important. And if you're a singer, if you're an entertainer, and you're trying to get your name out there, you need to be involved in social media in some way. That's obvious. That's clear.
That's just the world we live in nowadays.
It's a connection to, I mean, it's kind of like when email came out, you could be like, I don't use email. For like 5 years, you could do that and people would think you're cool. I remember when Facebook and Instagram, that shit came out, you could be like, I don't do Facebook. But the reality is these days, you, like I said, of course, have to have a great web presence, but it cannot define who you are.
Yeah.
In the past, you would, of course, apply to a job, you know, and then you would get that job or not, but you didn't have this you know, your old friends from high school weren't looking at fucking videos of you singing.
Almost like now. It's almost like now you can paint with the internet and all the different social media sites. You can paint who you want to be instead of who you are. And with opera, there is so much influence that you have from recordings and from videos and from your teacher and everything. It's almost like the people who are just in love with the idea of being an opera singer take all of those different things and add them together and just create this edifice, which is themselves in the opera world. But that's not how you create art. That's not how you do it. That's how you become an opera star. Yeah. But that's not these people that I meet. And it's honestly the thing that this podcast is rebelling against a bit.
Yeah.
When I see a totally normal person do an interview and they've got like all of a sudden they're wearing the fancy earrings and this weird collared dress.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, you know, what I do is I get up and I think about the art for a little bit. And then I do my stretches and I breathe deep for about 30 minutes. Fuck that. No, you don't. No, you fucking don't.
What you're talking about, man, is you're talking about the Instagram takeover.
Yeah.
Do you see the Instagram takeover, man? It drives me a little crazy. You know, like you eat avocado toast and go to the gym before a show. Give me an Instagram takeover. I would not lie. Okay.
Right.
I'd be like
exactly.
11:30 a.m. I've been in bed for 3 hours, like surfing the internet on my phone. You know, and then I like eat a lot of shitty food.
My son came up and kneed me in the fucking throat at 7:30, and I've been awake and puking blood since then.
And then you get in a fight with whoever you live with, and you say, "I can't have this pressure. I gotta sing tonight."
Right,
you know?
I gotta fucking take that.
Show that on Instagram, all right? Show the real shit.
Seriously, all this fucking bullshit. It's such a fucking Jim Henson Muppet of what an opera singer is.
Yeah.
What's it called? Placido Flamingo from Sesame Street, right? That's what it is.
Man.
And the whole fucking point of all of this, what we're doing is, it's just normal. People are fucking normal.
Yeah.
What is wrong about being a normal person who can create art?
Yeah.
Isn't that a more attractive thing? Does the artist have to be fucking tortured? Do they have to sacrifice everything for the art, or can you not make amazing art and live a perfectly functional life? Is that really not possible, or am I fucking crazy?
No, I know what you mean, but I mean, and not to get too deep, but honestly, if you
get deep, get balls deep on it, dude.
I'm gonna get real deep.
Oh, listen to that.
Look, if you kind of wrap up too much of how you value yourself in like what other people think of you, or like you are living this image crafting like you talked about earlier, where you're kind of like personifying yourself in a way online that you are not to that level yet. You know what I mean? And you define yourself as that person, and you have to kind of upkeep this persona. What you're actually doing is you're putting your happiness in the future. You know what I mean? You're saying that when I have that shit, I will be happy. And putting your happiness in the future is the number one way to be unhappy.
Yeah, that is ill-advised.
I mean,
that is fucking ill-advised.
That is how you make sure you're unhappy. When you say, when I have money, when I have a career, when I sing this role, when I sing at that opera house, I will make it, and my friends will finally think I'm cool. But let me tell you something. People don't give a shit. You know? I'll tell a weird story. Okay, so when I first moved to Germany, I was living in a town called Leer in Ostfriesland, which is a western part of Germany, and Leer means empty. Okay, in German, and that town fucking was. And I was teaching English there. And I remember I would often tell these people, these groups I was teaching English to, I would say, I'm an opera singer. And they'd say, where have you sung? And I had just moved to Germany. And so I was like, nowhere. And they were like, oh, okay. And then I got a few gigs here and there, like medium houses, right? And I would tell them, and then they seemed unimpressed. And I was like, man, if I sang at the Met or something, these people would fucking be impressed. And so one day, I had a crash course for 1 day, 8 hours. And I fucking lied to them, right? I was like, I'm an opera singer. And they're like, where have you sung? And I'm like, name a place. I've sung there, right? And you know how much they cared?
Zero, dude.
Not at all, man.
Not fucking at all.
And that was such an eye-opening moment for me because I was like, if I had lived my whole life pursuing this thing and saying, once I have that, I'll have
Once
respect,
I stand on the stage of the Met,
people will fucking care about me.
everybody knows the
They'll
Met,
care
right?
what I say. No, man. There are a lot of people that it doesn't matter. And a lot of the people you're in contact with, your castmates and stuff, the name dropping, you know, the people you've sung with, the places you've sung, it doesn't define whether or not people respect you
That's
or like
right.
you.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
Actually, I heard something really interesting recently. Somebody I appreciate and admire a lot is a guy named Christopher Hitchens, and I saw an interview with him, and he said somebody wrote him in a question and said, "Are you happy?" And he said, "I'm not actually sure that's what you should be going for in life," which is a little different than what we're saying now. But it opened my eyes a bit. He said, yeah, happiness is good, but satisfaction might be better.
Okay.
And sometimes satisfaction, you have to sacrifice happiness for satisfaction. Now, that is kind of counter to what we were just saying, but honestly, I wouldn't be happy if I weren't satisfied with my work. You know?
Right.
I mean, his statement is maybe a bit incomplete. Satisfaction begets happiness.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be happy, you have to be satisfied. You have to pick the things to be satisfied in, though.
And you control your satisfaction.
That's right. Well, it also has to do with your expectations. If you think that the only thing that you need in life is to sing on this one particular stage, then come on, dude. Then fucking look around you.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Honestly, look at something like art. People aspire to art. People talk about art all the time in our fucking field. You can make art in a hole that you dug in your fucking basement. It can be the greatest art ever. That has the stage, the place, the time has zero to do with quality of art. Zero. So that what I'm saying is they should. If people aim for that, then the place that they do it is not particularly important.
Yo, what the fuck was that?
Jesus.
Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know what the fuck I did.
I'm not used to this technology shit.
We're somehow fucking up this podcast.
That goddamn sound card, dude. We need a fucking studio. No more. Look, the basement has served us well. We got to get a fucking studio. The people are clamoring to hear the shit. Let's do it.
Yeah, we need. I mean, it's an expensive hobby, man.
It's
we
an
need
expensive
a computer,
fucking
we
hobby.
Need some stuff. I don't know where we were, man.
Send us money. Send us fucking money.
If someone out there is rich,
Come on. Whatever,
Look,
we're
I
poor.
mean, we were
We're poor as fuck.
I mean, to you all out there, that was a second, but to us, it's been like 10 minutes.
Yeah, honestly, dude, this is hell.
I have no idea what the fuck we're talking
This
about.
is fucking hell.
It's
I
almost
can't-
midnight.
I
Okay?
can't wait. Look, this might be a really interesting podcast. I swear to Christ, we're gonna get to the end of this podcast, and it's gonna be that full as the other podcasts.
Yeah.
If we talk just about how this fucking stuff is fucking up the whole time, that's what we're talking about, people.
Yeah,
Get ready
look,
for it,
yes.
and listen to the end. Come on, listen. We're gonna say interesting shit.
Yeah,
still.
we got some good questions
It's not
here
gonna
for
be
just the tip
It's not
today.
gonna be tip. Oh yeah. The just a tip is gonna be good. Anyway, what we were saying was that people measure themselves so much on where they sing and how their career's going, and here I'm at 30% of my career, or I'm at this stage of the career where it should be. And again, that all adds to the topic today was being in love with the idea of being an opera singer, and the idea of being an opera singer is being a star, is being the person who people are throwing flowers at your feet, and you're singing only at La Scala, Berlin, London, Paris Opera, Met. I mean, everything. Those are the people that everybody wants to be.
Yeah.
And that is that's a tiny fraction of the shit.
Well, I mean, and let me ask you this. Do you think the people that define their happiness, or they believe that they'll have an I made it moment in the future, yeah? Is it for themselves, or do they do that for people around them?
Yeah, both, probably. No, look, everybody, but we're all, I'm saying look again a lot. You hear that? I'm saying fucking look. I'm saying it
just
in
do
your
it,
fucking
man.
head,
Just
dude. No, look, people. Everybody's an attention-seeking whore. Everybody is an attention-seeking whore. From the time you grow, my kids show me this.
Yeah.
From the time you are born, you want attention. And I'm an opera singer. I might be as guilty of this as everybody. Perhaps that opera singers and performers are just a bit more attention-seeking than the rest of the people.
Look, ego is not a weakness in the career. Did I say look?
You said look.
Why do you got to do that, man? That's going to be a hard
I'm
thing.
in your
man.
head, dude. I'm in your head.
Find a synonym for look.
See here, y'all.
No, I mean, ego's a tool. And it's like last week on the podcast, we talked about how having this critical way of thinking about singing, about thinking of your own voice, is also a powerful tool if you can shut it on and off. You know what I mean? And ego is the same way, because honestly, the difference between confidence and ego when you walk out on that stage is almost nothing. You know what I mean?
Very fine.
You have to have the feeling like, I'm going to fucking sing this fucking note. And you have to know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's all about when you step off the stage, you got to balance everything so that you still have a bit of happiness in your life. And for younger singers, I'll say this. I'll give you a couple coughs. We're talking about basically being in love with the idea of being an opera singer.
And being in love with singing opera. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
They sound exactly the same, but they're really two different
But
things.
it also boils down. I hate Fach. I have to say I hate the idea that there's Fächer and there's like I am a bass baritone.
Dude,
and
I
am
love
a
Faching. Every time I get a chance. Every time I get a
No,
chance
because
to
with
Fach.
young singers, I would imagine there's many people that never get a chance at the career because they got identified by some fucking Professor Young as you are a young dramatic or you are a whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? And then you will always put yourself in that box and say I can do this and you'll limit your capabilities.
There was a person who was very near and dear to me, near and dear to a lot of people. A lot of people listening to this podcast might know who this person is, but Lorenzo Malfatti, right? He was a teacher at CCM for a long time, and then CCM's Italian summer program, Luca, where Lorenzo was from. He influenced a lot of people, and what he once said was, everybody goes to Luca, to this summer program thinking they're Pavarotti, and they find out they're not. And that really is disappointing to them, but they then find out who the hell they are. And that's way more important. And what he meant by that is, once you can find out what your talent is, what your particular talent is, right? You got to fucking do that. And then people will pay you for it. People will pay. I for the longest time, was disappointed that I was not going to sing Cavaradossi.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that was never going to happen for me. But you know what? I like singing the shit that I sing.
Right.
It is my talent. It is what I'm good at.
Yeah, and the things that make opera, it doesn't matter your Fach, it doesn't matter your voice type. It's present in everything that you sing.
That's right.
But if you define yourself as I am a whatever the fuck, I'm a coloratura soprano, and that makes me cool. That is my identity. I identify with that.
Right, and honestly, the pressure's put on you a little bit because the prima donna is the Traviata. It is the.
Right.
It is Cavaradossi. It is Rodolfo, right?
Mm.
And you think somehow, all right, well, I'm working towards this goal, and it has to be Rodolfo, right?
Mm.
That might not be what you are.
Yeah.
That really might not be what you are. And if you're working towards, if you're going thinking that you already know the future, then you might fucking fail, and you might fucking fail hard.
Yeah, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Mike.
go for it. I'm just
wanna share this
I'm
conversation
torn
with
asunder. I'm torn
Give me that
asunder,
shit.
and I fiddle with shit.
Mike,
Come on,
you
be-
fidgety motherfucker.
Hello, we are drinking beer, and there are just beer caps lying
I
around.
know.
Well, there are beer caps here from last fucking week, and I'm picking them up and playing with them.
We're
For God's
making a
sake.
mess.
No, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I was a little disappointed. Cavaradossi is a really cool role. There's nothing but good arias in it. There's nothing but good moments in it, and I love it. But you know what? I have done Spoletta in 4 different productions now, and I am happy with it.
Well, and
I'm happy with that shit. That is me.
and the thing
Those things are me.
And the thing you'll find is when you get out and you start singing for agents and what is an intendant in English? Is that an opera house director? Or
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck. The
Artistic director.
people
maybe.
that fucking hire you, all right?
Right.
The
boss, the fucking boss.
The boss.
In
You start
Germany,
singing
the
those shit,
intendant is the boss.
You know what? You won't have to worry.
intendantin.
You won't have to worry too much about what's my Fach. Because tell you what, after you get a couple years experience, the only shit people will hire you for, that's your fucking Fach.
That's
It doesn't matter what you want to be. I presented myself as something for a long time because that's what I wanted to be. But I looked at my resume and I said, well, fuck, the last 8 or 10 roles I've done are precisely the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, when I've come, I'll just tell you what it is. When I've come to Germany, modern German music is pretty much almost exclusively what I've done.
Yeah, dude, they love you in that shit.
This
and you do it well. I gotta say, what's the one composer you work for often?
Siegfried Matus.
that guy
he's a
fucking
big
loves you,
German
dude.
composer, and I've sung a lot of his stuff. And actually, this thing I'm doing in Berlin is his son's opera now.
No shit.
Yeah,
Man, you're in the family.
and it's one of those things where we have a show date but no music in 4 weeks. And that's actually not my thing. In school, Mike and I have done a lot of concerts together, and Mike. You give this guy music the night before, he will show up memorized the next day. I don't know how he fucking does it, but I need weeks to learn a song. You
Which
know what I mean?
doesn't make any sense to me, dude. I honestly, Jared writes music. He's in the middle of writing an opera right now, and he's writing a role for me.
I am.
He's writing a role for me. Anyway, but he's a musician, and why the fuck you can't memorize music? Memorizing. Oh, you know what? I think I know.
What? Tell me.
I grew up doing Suzuki.
Mm.
I grew up playing violin and doing the Suzuki method. Right.
Mm.
People who do Suzuki. So
explain what that is. I'm not
yeah.
everybody knows what that is.
So you learn, and your teacher will play the piece on a recording, and you also learn orally as well as reading the music.
Mm.
And for some reason, people who do that are able to memorize music right away. For instance, I never, ever take, when I sing oratorio, I never take music out with me.
Yeah.
Even though I have a folder with me, I never take the music because for some reason, I can't perform a piece of music.
Yeah.
I can't actually be inside a piece of music until it's absolutely memorized. I would consider it not learned. I would consider it absolutely not learned unless it was 100% memorized. And that because I had to memorize, or because I considered it only learned when it was memorized, doing it quickly was kind of a prerequisite. So I might that might be the reason why I learn music quickly. But I don't understand why you can't fucking learn it quickly. You know music inside and out. You write it for God's sake.
I know, but I mean, my thing is if I couldn't write you the music, I feel uncomfortable performing it. Like
but
every
why don't you
dotted
think
rhythm,
about it?
every note, every like.
No,
like,
I agree with
you
you.
know what I mean?
I can absolutely any role I perform I could conduct it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can write it out.
It's just a mental thing. I mean, I don't know. But my point is that was
yeah,
not.
what
a
is your
s-
fucking point?
my point is that was not a strength of mine. And when I came to Germany, I was getting nothing but modern music, modern music, modern music.
Yeah.
And that was not my jam. That was not my thing. But it was happening so often that I just went with it. You know, I just went down that road. And it was also not the Fach I was labeling myself as. Right? But had I stuck to my guns and said, no, man, I'm going to sing Mozart bass baritone
because
shit
that's
or
what you
whatever.
wanted to be. Because that's what an opera star is.
Yeah, but that's the most marketable thing, too, you would imagine. But I fell into this niche, and I was getting, like, passed around by the people that work in that field.
Niche
and so
is
I
a
just,
ridiculous word.
Whatever
I'm sorry.
the fuck, man.
I hate
whatever
when
you wanna
people
call
say
it.
niche. Honestly, niche is the right word. You're using it correctly, but I fucking hate that word. And your point is well taken. I just could not let the word niche go by me without fucking freaking out a bit.
Let a fucking quiche go by you.
I don't do that either. I eat the quiche. Hey, dude. I am running out of beer.
Yeah, okay.
Here we go. I got it.
Well,
Don't look at
that's
yours. I got
Yeah,
that. This is my
I'm not
sack.
used to
I'm about
going-
to
I'm not
thug
used
you
to
up,
going
dude.
first. Go for it. Go for it. Let's see what you got.
Fill time. I got to get it out.
Look,
Fill time. What are you gonna do?
well, there's actually something I want to say, but it's big. I don't know if I can. You need like 30 seconds, and I need a long time. Well, I mean, I was just thinking about what we were talking about earlier, and about how your persona online can kind of make you unhappy if you're not getting the kind of, because you won't be satisfied if you're living to impress other people. You know, and for you got.
That's just also not the point of art is impressing other people, or not the point of an artist. The point of an artist is to express something that is inside you, right?
Yeah.
That is, not many people. Many people will like the reference I will make, I guess, because Ayn Rand is not a very popular person, but she wrote a treatise on art called The Romantic Manifesto, and there's actually a composer named Michael Ippolito, who is he is now a professor of composition in Texas, and was Texas was as adjunct at Juilliard for a while, and he introduced me this to Ayn Rand, and she said that art is the expression of some sort of metaphysical value judgment through means that by themselves basically don't particularly mean that value judgment by themselves. So the arrangement of different things. For instance, if you're a painter, you take different color paints, which red doesn't mean one thing by itself and blue doesn't mean one thing by itself. You put them together in a certain way and it means something different. It's a communication.
Sure.
Michael, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I misrepresenting it. It's been a long time since I've read that fucking book, since you introduced it to me. But in that sense, if you believe in that definition of art, which is a much more narrow definition of art than a lot of people say, because a lot of people say if you throw shit at a canvas, then it's art, right? Because it's in the eye of the beholder. No, she says that there is an intention, an expression of it, and a reception.
Yes.
So if you are an artist, you have that intention and you express it in that way.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I've always kind of been under the impression that as long as you need one other person in the world's, Jesus fucking Christ, man.
I just fucked up his train of thought.
You know I got to drive home, right?
Oh, man, I forgot about that.
Mike busted out this. You fucking explain what you just fucking did.
So,
let me finish my point first.
Yeah,
okay?
finish your point.
My point was, as long as you need one other person's approval for what you do, you're going to have a hard time, okay?
That's right.
You have to find a place where you don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Yeah? It's nice to know that your fucking girlfriend or your mom or your best friend likes what you're doing, but it's not going to make or break your career. Mike, tell them what the fuck you just did. I'm gonna get in trouble for this. Extra strong beer. Jesus fuck.
So this is called, you know this beer, right?
Of course I know this beer.
So in Germany they have these cans of beer, right? It's called Faxe, right? It's a Danish beer, and they only come in liter cans, right? This is because he got a 10% beer not too long ago, and I wanted to fuck him, but we're going here 10% with a liter.
It's not bad. I was expecting like old English, like that flavor.
No, it's a little better than that. I used to drink Faxe all the time.
Yeah, we used to
dude.
drink this in Oldenburg.
Right,
all the time.
Oldenburg, the
When we were
fucking
living there.
Netto is the cheapest place you can buy shit in Germany, and it was right around the corner from me. And they used to have it, and when they had it, when they would get a little shipment in, they would always come in like 12 things.
Yeah, I think the last time I drank it was your place.
And
when
they
you used to live
they
back
sell
there.
these for a euro 10 per liter, and I would buy it out.
If you
I would just go and fill up my cart with it as much as I can.
If you want a cheap drunk, man, that's the way to do it.
And this one is 10%. The normal one isn't 10%, but this one is 10 fucking percent. So we're doing it tonight, dude. We got a bed. We got a bed. If you got a, what time do you have to work?
I don't know, man. We'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
We'll,
right.
we'll see. We'll just
Here we go.
We'll see how it goes. All right.
As my brother says, down the hatch, out the ass.
Jesus Christ. Look, this isn't a thought. What?
It's different than I remember, dude. I haven't had that for a long
That's
time.
pretty good, man. Look, this isn't a thought I haven't fully thought through, but I'm just gonna put this out there into the world.
Put it out.
I feel like there is kind of 3 rings of people that are basically criticizing or judging the art that you make, right?
All right, this sounds interesting.
The smallest ring is the people very close to you, your mom, your dad, your best friend, your wife, these people, and they are biased and they won't give you kind of proper feedback because they want the best for you. More than anything, they want you to succeed. The second ring outside of that is the biggest ring, and this ring is made up of your old high school friends on Facebook, your old castmates from shows you did 2 years ago, this type of shit. And those people are somehow the most negative people that are looking at your stuff, I find. And then this third ring is fucking strangers. It's people you're auditioning for. It's audience members, and they will give you the most accurate spread. A lot of what they say is absolute bullshit, but then a lot of what they say is true. They will give you a 0 to 100% spread, like people leaving YouTube comments. You know what I mean? Those types of fucking people. They will give you unbiased fucking feedback. But tell me if I'm wrong. Have you not had the experience?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it, dude. I mean,
Look, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to tell you exactly what I got too loud there. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm thinking about. The fact is, dude, this podcast that you and I started, okay, you know that by far, the people that do not give a shit about this podcast are the people in that second ring. The people that listen to this podcast is my immediate family circle, and then the people that don't know me. But castmates from old shows and stuff like that, you can't get those people to care about your YouTube videos and shit.
Well, okay.
Is that just me?
Well, look, I don't know. I'm torn on it because I've had old colleagues of mine write me and say they fucking love it. They wish they had done it themselves.
I think I might put them in the first ring then.
No, dude. They're old colleagues. That's what you said. People from old casts. But if somebody likes what you did and they wish they had done it, they're going to shit on it about it to you about it.
There's like that second ring
because
of people.
they're worried about they're worried about their image. And
Yeah.
honest to God, people, I swear to Christ when I say this, we're not doing this whole thing. This podcast is not happening. You don't have to burp away from the microphone. You can burp right into the microphone, dude. No one gives a shit.
I don't want.
Anyway, listen, this whole thing that we're doing has nothing to do with self-promotion and
I
trying
do my
to get out
best
there.
to not talk about what I'm doing and like the stuff. I do not want to promote.
Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is the idea of this podcast came from us bullshitting. Us being bullshitters talking about opera. Because when we get together, I mean, my wife and his girlfriend are sisters, and they're twin sisters, and they get together and we get together, and when we hang out, we'll hang out and talk about whatever. But when opera comes up, it just comes up like the way we're talking about it now. And we thought, You never hear that. Why not put it out there? Fuck self-promotion, people. Do things that matter.
Yeah.
Do things that fucking matter. Don't think about what other people like. What will get you ahead in the world? Think about what fucking matters. And what honestly matters is talking about art in a way that connects with people, in a way that people understand.
Hey, look, man, and you just be fucking true to who you are. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
Like I said, not to get too deep, but it's like you get one fucking life to live. Do you really want to like be trying to fit into molds your whole life of what you think other people want from you?
Well, I wake up and I make my gluten-free eggs, and then I do my inhaling for 30 minutes, like
and
I said.
do my stretching. And
I do my stretching for at least 2 hours because your body is your instrument. Look, I can't honestly. Your body is your fucking instrument, dude. But I cannot hear that sentence one more time. One more time because. Yeah, it is your instrument, but your body is the instrument for life also, dude.
Yeah.
It's your fucking instrument for life.
And I mean, like these master
Live.
Well, and like these. Okay, when I used to have master classes back in the day, people used to say
Masturbation classes.
Have you ever had this said to you where they say, if you could imagine yourself doing anything else, then don't pursue this art form?
That's bullshit,
That is
dude.
bullshit. If you are so untalented and unskilled that you can't do something else and this is all you have,
then you better work as hard as you can on
You
it because
better work really
you're
hard.
gonna fucking fail.
Yeah, but it's like,
I honestly, I'm glad you brought that up. I never thought that was good advice, because, like, yeah, of course, if you have a passion, if you really have a passion, you should go after that thing. But honestly, that to say it's the only thing you can imagine yourself doing makes you a one-dimensional person. How interesting. Oh, Billy Connolly said, "Never trust somebody with one fucking book."
yeah.
Never trust somebody with one fucking book. And it means don't trust somebody that just is one fucking dimensional.
Do you
Come
mean
on.
they read one book or written one book?
Read.
Okay.
It means that they just have one idea in their fucking head, and it's crazy.
No, but it's also this thing where it's like.
Also, by the way, being a good artist is being so in depth, diving so right into the world that you actually can understand what it means to be jealous to craziness.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand what it means to be jealous to the place where you are going crazy,
Right.
then you have no business expressing that on the stage.
And if you get in this position where you're like, this is all I can do, then you're gonna get to a point where you're sacrificing too many things in your life for the career. I'm sorry, man. I give a lot. I've slept in. I did this training program once, and we need to do extra because we need some
that's
cussing.
right.
I did this training program once where I slept in my fucking car for a week in Utah, 105-degree summer. Okay,
Jesus.
I ate peanut butter sandwiches, drank water. I got a trial membership at a gym so I could use the shower. Okay, I fucking sacrificed.
Oh my God.
I moved to Germany with nothing. Okay, I have given so much for this career, but I have a fucking line, and there is so much shit I would not do. Yeah? I wouldn't do it. Like, I've had directors treat me like absolute shit, and if I don't care if it costs me the next job, I'm not gonna live a life fucking kissing ass that fucking much. You know what I mean?
I agree, dude.
Like, this is important to me. But Mike and I, my most fond memories on stage are like when we used to sing at fucking that Italian place, and he would pay us in salt. You remember that guy? I'm not gonna say
literally paid us.
He literally paid us in
salt.
salt and wine. I'm not gonna say that guy's name because fuck him. But like, that was some of the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. Is like that type of stuff.
Yeah, because that's honest shit. So let me back that up and tell them what the fuck that means. We did. There was a place in a city in Germany where there was an Italian restaurant, and the guy wanted some entertainment, and we said, "Yeah, fuck, we can give you some entertainment. We can sing for some shit." And the people were just getting drunker and drunker, and so were we, and we were singing, and we were just. But we would give the piano. We had a good pianist. And we could give him anything, and he would just play it.
Right.
And we just said, "All right, let's do some entertainment." Let's
sang
entertain
for like
some
4 or
people.
5 hours, and
And
just,
by the way, the salt thing,
yeah.
he had like this little gourmet fucking salt thing, and he
it
said,
was good
"Well,
salt, man.
we were just waiting around, maybe some tips from the night or something, and he put these fucking jars of salt in front of us, and you know what? That was good salt.
That was good
You're
salt. You get some baguette, you put a little butter on there, a little of that salt, man.
I'd rather some of the international lubricant, if you know what I mean. The
Fucking
money.
No, but
Money,
we
money, money,
we sang 3-4 hours,
money.
and it's money. It's one of those things where you didn't really give a shit. You know how you were singing and stuff. They were like, sing another. You know, I was like trying to sing your stuff. You were trying to sing my stuff. It was some of the most fun I've ever had performing, and I didn't need to put it on Facebook. I didn't need to be in front of 1,000 fucking people.
That's right.
God, all right, we got to get to just the tip because I'm gonna piss my pants.
Honestly.
All right, here we go. Just the
Now you got
just the fucking tip.
tip. Ooh.
Just the tip, love. Oh man.
I did some extra stuff that
Yeah,
time.
that was all Mike.
How about that?
Look, I gotta get my phone out. Okay, so we had somebody write us in here.
We had a couple, hey, just to reiterate, we had people write us in, and that is payment. That's payment for the goddamn podcast. To hear that it actually means something to people, to hear this kind of information, the way we do it is awesome. Awesome. And feedback on what you think is it's just the best thing. Read the first one.
All right, so last week we talked about like rejection and dealing with criticism, right? And so somebody wrote in that she said, I once received some feedback on an audition I did to enter uni that if it were true, I would be the worst singer on the planet. And it upset me so much that I had a bladder infection for 2 weeks and missed the wedding of my friend in which I was supposed to sing in. And she had made special food for me. Okay, blah, 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 blah. And it has put me. I'm sorry, we don't have time.
Blah, blah,
No,
blah.
it's important. You're an important person, but you know we're running short on time. And it put me off from auditioning, which isn't a great solution. Now I never ask for feedback if I'm afraid of the outcome. I just secretly record it and judge myself what I did wrong. Yeah, so basically that's a story of someone who's young and impressionable. And look, when you get to the point in the career that Mike or I in, you can't hurt my feelings anymore. I'm numb to it.
I don't know what you mean. You can hurt my feelings really easily.
Well, maybe you haven't had as much rejection as I had, but like, you know,
honestly, come on. If someone just says, "Look, this hasn't happened," I don't think this has happened to either of us. But if someone says to you, "What the fuck was that? What the fuck? What the fuck
Yeah,
was
but
that?" That would hurt your feelings. Come on, be honest.
no, man, because I'm secure enough in what I'm doing that I either would agree with them, I'd be like, yeah, man, I fucked that up, or I would be like, nah. I don't know what you're
I
hearing.
told you about it last week. I knew that I fucked it up, and that when they told me that criticism,
Right.
that didn't hurt my feelings. It hurt me that I failed. That's what I mean.
Mm.
If you think if you want to succeed and you fail, those feelings are going to be hurt. But come on.
I have to read this again. Did she say she said that she was like auditioning for uni, so a professor must have said this to her, right?
Yeah, and that's also a different thing. You're in a different spot in
Yeah,
your
but-
life when you're auditioning for a university.
And I mean, and one of the most eye-opening things I had as I got older was that, like, because you see your friends become professors. You know what I mean? People you went to school
Yeah,
with and shit like
fuck.
that, and you realize a lot of those people are saying shit for other professors. They're normal fucking people, and they're not. I mean, there's great professors out there. There are fantastic professors, but I have been in situations when I was younger where people would say something to be heard by the audience or to be heard by other professors, not to help you as an individual.
I hated having people sit in on my lessons in the university. Just as a side note.
But like students or what?
No, anybody. Like someone would say, your teacher would say, "Hey, can this person sit in today?" Maybe it was like a DMA student who had to sit in on a lesson and learn
Right.
what this or that, or a prospective student. And then you'd get up there and sing, and you could notice when the teacher was teaching differently.
Yeah.
Because there was somebody else in the fucking room, dude.
Exactly. That.
I fucking hated
But also,
that.
But do you know how many master classes I had where like the person was giving advice to me with their back to me? You know what I mean? Because they're looking at the audience and they're like, "When you lift the soft palate, you have to fucking." I'm like, sorry, what did you say?
I'm right here.
I can't hear your tip for me.
My soft palate is right here.
No, but it's like I had this experience once where I was doing a really dramatic opera with some dramatic singers, and in the same summer festival, there were people doing a Baroque opera, right? And those people came in, and they listened to us one day, and like word gets around, and they said, "Oh my God, there's so much pushing going on in there." And then one of our singers listened to their opera, and they said, "Those people are singing with half their voices," and people will make very exact, specific comments because of where they come from. And you can't take that personally.
That sort of shit. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can't take that personally.
And when you're young, though, she sounds young because she's in uni, you take that shit personally.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. Honestly, that's kind of ridiculous. Who the fuck would go to a modern opera? Those people in the early opera have obviously never sung with a big orchestra before. When you sound like, it's in Germany, it's very much like that. You have early music singers and modern music singers and this and that, and it's kind of partitioned off. And in America, I never remember that. A singer was a singer, an opera singer was a singer, and if you were studying to be an opera singer, you also sang oratorio. You had to do it in your classes and everything. And for then the people in the modern piece or the other piece that you were talking about to go to the early piece and say they're singing with half their voices. Sorry, if you go and you go and with fucking Bach, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds fucking ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, if we can talk directly to her,
hook and push, baby.
Give him the
hook
old
and
fucking
push.
Wagner wobble. I mean, yeah, this is hard. This is hard because it's not a lot of good advice. Because you just can't practice for rejection. There's no way to practice for it. You know what I mean? And you just have
I suppose you could. It would be soul crushing. It would be soul crushing.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, you know what I mean? You just have to receive some. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what advice to give because it's she's afraid to ask.
What advice is she asking for again? I can't remember.
She's not asking for advice. She's just saying that she doesn't ask for feedback because of this experience she had got this terrible
Oh, that's
feedback.
right. She says she records.
She records and puts it into her own hands.
Look, so I agree with that. Recording is a huge tool.
Yeah.
A huge tool. Do it. I've never recorded an audition before.
Okay.
To say that.
I record every audition.
Yeah, I know you do. I've never done it before because then you're setting yourself up for something different. You make your judgment of how it was, and then those other people make another judgment.
Yeah.
Or the same judgment, whichever. But then you're comparing. I mean, if you record when you're practicing, then you can make the judgment the way that you see it. But then if you do it again with the audition, then you have another person's judgment which comes in and says, okay, your judgment was right or wrong. It might not be that black and white that it is either right and wrong, but that's how it comes across, and that's maybe a dangerous thing. But then again, there are some auditions where I wish I had the recordings.
Yeah, I mean, there's
joke.
There's pros and cons to it. There's pros and cons, but the thing I'll say is when I was younger, I would take a professor or an agent or someone's feedback to heart so deeply, but some of it's just a time game. Some of it's you just got to be in the game long enough that you hear enough feedback that finally you find your way through it all.
What I would
and
say,
you specify,
what I would say about what she said was, I take it out of their hands. I would say there has to be a happy medium. You shouldn't say everything that they say is absolutely right, but you got to be able to hear that shit. I would say that some of that stuff must be right because they are people who are hiring.
Yeah, but
they are people who are doing that stuff, and it's not unimportant. Let's put it that way. It's not unimportant.
Yeah, that's true. But
I know, it's so true. It's so fucking true.
The way you're stroking this microphone, man, I mean, stop that.
Dude,
stop that.
Who was it that said microphones are like big robot dicks just sticking in your face? Who was that? I can't remember.
I have
it looks like
no idea what
if there's a politician and they or like a sports figure and they have all the microphones, it just looks like a big bunch of big metal robot dicks.
That was Chappelle or something.
It might have been. I can't remember.
The last thing I want to say before we move on to our next question, because we're double dipping the tip today. Mike, stop that.
We're going middle of the
I'm
shaft
having
deep.
I'm having so much trouble focusing because it's so late right now. Look.
Bring it around, dude. Do it.
Yeah, you made me forget, man. You got
Sorry.
me. You got me.
Go to the next question. Come on. Let's go to the next
I had
question.
something for her, man.
It doesn't matter. No one gives a
Alright,
fuck.
I gotta look it up
No
on
one
my
gives
phone.
a fuck.
Yeah, you've all shut it up. I know. Hold on. Why don't you fucking vamp? Why
I
find
can
this
vamp.
thing?
I can vamp all kinds of vamping. Dude, listen. I cannot stand some of the drivers in this city.
Dude,
I
people do
can-
not know how to fucking drive around here, man.
Honestly, and every driver says that. The people that I'm talking about are probably saying it about me on their podcast right
On
fucking
their podcast.
now. But honestly, people who don't use their fucking turn signal and just stop in the middle of the fucking road
Mhm.
are insane. They're
Yeah.
insane
Now,
fucking
people here don't know how to drive.
You want see? You said you challenged me to vamp. I can vamp on anything, dude. Look at this wood over here.
You go straight to the
I
vamp.
don't understand how when you have a bunch of wood right next to one another. Look, we have like a
Mike,
fucking thing of wood here,
There's
and
no
I don't
way-
understand how you don't see like a pattern in the wood going all the way down. You would
Mike.
assume that it all comes from the same tree, and that you'd see all the knots going all the way down. See, I can vamp on anything,
All
dude.
right. I don't know. I
Give
don't
me
know.
more vamping.
I'm not gonna give you credit for
Give
the
me
wood
more
one.
vamping.
The wood one was pretty weak.
No, dude, you
All right.
if you were a carpenter like me,
Nah, fuck that.
you'd
We're
understand what
moving
I
on to the
meant.
next one. This, I'm giving this podcast a 5 out of 10, man.
Dude, this is good. I think this is entertaining shit.
All right. So we had a guy. He says, "I'm a baritone in the beginning of my career, and I've just started to realize how much traveling that means, and most of all, how
Can you read?
well, he's not a native English speaker.
That's okay, dude.
I'm just gonna read exactly.
Where's he
right here.
from?
He's Swiss, or not Swiss, from Sweden.
Sweden.
Swedish.
Speak some Swedish, and then you
Swedish.
criticize his English, motherfucker.
I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that I'm half drunk and it's midnight. All right. Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man.
facts a
No,
beer.
it's incredible what you wrote. I'm fucking tired of shit. I'm a baritone at the beginning of my career and has just started to realize how much traveling this means, and most of all, how many and how long the periods living away from home in foreign countries and cities are.
Fuck, dude.
What are your tips for making the foreign city and same IKEA-styled rental apartment your own so it feels like home?
Yeah.
You're on WhatsApp right now,
No,
man.
dude, I
Alright,
wanted to
alright,
bring up
alright,
his question. I wanted to read it.
Okay. He basically wants to know, like, when you're doing so much traveling and you're on the road, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, dude, that's fucking hard. Again, I have it less than you do because I do fewer guesting
Yeah, but man,
gigs.
there was a time where your wife was living in the fucking Netherlands and you were in a different city in Germany. You were like 5 hours away, man.
Well, look, what I can bring to it maybe is when I first moved to Germany. Or let's go back even further. Let's Tarantino this. Let's go all the way back, baby.
Nice.
When I first moved to Cincinnati, my friends used to say we used to be out at the bar or something, and be like, "All right, it's time to go home." And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Home is in Pittsburgh. I don't live in fucking Cincinnati, right?"
Yeah.
And then there was a time where I said to myself, "Holy shit." There's a real possibility I might never live in Pittsburgh again. Pittsburgh's my that's my hometown.
Right.
But there's a real possibility even now that I might never live there again. And when I realized that, it made me think, shit, I have to make home wherever I am now.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you're only doing guesting, then you have to have a home base and then also be there for a couple of months or something. But what I can say is, for me, embracing where you are, really embracing it, makes it feel like home, makes it feel better. The thing is, it doesn't have to feel like your home.
No.
Not your home that you call the place where you live permanently.
Right.
That's not what home means. I know that's cliche, but that's not what home means. Home means feeling comfortable, feeling part of the shit. And when I first moved to Germany, I was at a theater, Oldenburg, at the Staatstheater in Oldenburg.
Right.
And up there, they speak a special kind of like farmer German. It's called Plattdeutsch. And I remember I did my best to learn that kind of German also. and it made me feel like I was a part of the place. So even if you're there just for a couple of months, feel like it. Feel like you're there. Learn something about it.
It's a tough question because sometimes you got like a fest contract where it's 1 year, 2 years, and that's a little bit of a different thing.
Even if you're a guest, though, why aren't you going and trying to find out? All right, what's this city known for?
Well, that's what I'm saying is the guesting I do is sometimes 4 weeks, and it's last year I was in Hamburg for like 5-6 months,
Yeah. For instance, what'd you learn about Hamburg?
Well, that's the thing is you have to. What worked for me is you have to be comfortable doing shit by yourself. For one, because I got two tips. One is you have to develop a comfortability with going out for food by yourself, going out for coffee by yourself, going to a movie, a museum by yourself, going for a walk for yourself. You got to be comfortable with you. That's a big part of the career if you're going to be guesting and traveling.
Absolutely.
Number two is you got to socialize in ways that you maybe normally wouldn't. I'm a guy that it takes me a long time to get to know somebody enough where I want to go out and drink beer with them,
Fuck that, dude. I'd drink beer with anybody.
But you got to be more like that.
Yeah.
You got to meet your cast and you got to commit because it's so easy after that rehearsal just to go back to the hotel room and Skype whoever you got back home or to just watch Netflix, the same shows you've always watched. And you got to make a commitment to either go out with your cast, and a good cast member, I will say, will make or break your guest.
Did this guy say he was just starting off?
Yeah, he said he was in the beginning of his career.
Okay, so maybe that means he's not absolutely attached right now. What I wanted to interrupt you for was me now. It's very difficult to be away.
Yeah.
From a wife and 2 kids. That's difficult to be away from.
Yeah.
But if you're single, if you're a single guy, even if you just got a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever the fuck you got, right? If you've got that, then you got to be able to be comfortable just fucking going away and just fucking doing it. But I mean, the less you have to, the less you say, okay, home has to be this particular thing, then the better.
I mean, you focus on the differences, because if you're an
and enjoy them.
Well, but also if you're an isolated person at home, if you live alone and you live most of your life alone, then being on the road is not much different. But if you usually go out for coffee and socialize and meet people, then you need to make that happen. And so I would say make an effort to get to know your castmates more than you normally would. I would not normally, someone I met after 2 days, say, hey, man, do you want to go get dinner with me? I normally wouldn't do that, but you need to make that step. And if you don't have the castmates, because sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you just cast with some shitty people.
Right.
And they're going back to the room and just sitting there lying on that fucking dirty hotel bed all day. Then look, man, there's Facebook groups. There's shit out there. You can find people, and you might have to do some stuff that you normally wouldn't do.
Honestly, Google, look, be interested in a place that you're going to. Google can tell you, if you type in 10 most interesting things in this shitty town, in this shitty country, in this shitty continent, right? You can find exactly. There's a list in every single town.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from so. I say I'm from Pittsburgh, but I'm actually from north of Pittsburgh in this tiny little town, right? If you type in 10 best things to do from this town, you will fucking find them, and it will include this ice cream shop, this pharmacy, this, go down and throw a stone in the creek, right?
Yeah.
And okay, maybe those aren't world-class things, but then you'll understand what that town's about at least.
But I will say that will only last so long. If you are somewhere
but you're not going to be there that long.
Yeah, man, I mean, sometimes you're there for 5-6 months. Sometimes you're there for half a year. And I would say you got to go outside of your comfort zone, and you doesn't have to be the cast. I'm not a guy that goes to a bar and talks to people. I don't like it. When I'm in Frankfurt, I like to go out by myself. I don't want to talk to strangers. But when I am on the road for a gig, I will sometimes, if someone is alone next to me, I'll say hey man, what are you doing? What's up?
Yeah.
And the first couple times I did that, it made me really uncomfortable. But then I realized it was okay, and I got used to it. The first couple times I looked at some sort of group, free yoga in the park at 6 a.m., that shit made me uncomfortable. But do it. and you might be
Learn
surprised.
to play the
No,
zither.
But give no.
Call
but,
that motherfucker.
No, really, but give it a try. Give some of this like ways of meeting people and socializing a try that you don't normally do. And like if you're in a hotel for a week, man, unpack, use the fucking cabinets. Get out of your suitcase.
That's a great.
That shit
That's
helps.
That's a very good point. I have never, not once, ever used the fucking cabinet hung up shirts.
It makes a difference. It
I've
does.
never done that, dude.
you're
That's a
in a-
great point.
If you're in a Theaterwohnung, buy a fucking plant. Like do something.
Buy a plant, buy a fiscus, and let it die.
And
Like you would at home.
And
Let
the other
that
thing
shit
you need
die.
is you need a hobby. A hobby can keep you so interesting. A lot of singers I know do photography. Because photography allows you to go out alone. You take pictures of nature. You take pictures of building. You can obsess about cameras and lenses and shit.
Jared's is rubbing one out.
I am an excessive masturbator.
Come on, that's mine. I'm kidding.
No, mine's the
That's
gym.
mine.
I always find a gym.
That's
And I
true.
go and I can work out with people, meet. I can
When
buy.
Jared tells me how much he loves the fucking gym, I don't know if I can do the next podcast.
I would lose my fucking mind. No, but it's like
I don't.
that's
I
my
can't
thing. That's my thing. I go.
The only time I've ever really, really fucking wanted to go to the gym is when I was desperately depressed. Desperately
That's the
depressed.
best time, man. That's
Yeah,
the
but
best time.
afterwards, after I got my satisfaction back, dude, I was like, "Fuck this!"
Nah, you gotta have something. You gotta have something that you are interested in that can take up some of your time that you can kind of meet people over. I don't know, man. This is fucking done. This podcast is over, man.
You love it.
This was a hard one.
This was a hard one. That's what you said.
We had a lot of technical difficulties. It's fucking midnight. It's late as shit.
Is it midnight?
It's
Are
almost
you fucking
midnight.
kidding me,
Yeah.
dude?
All right. Look, everybody. You know.
There it is.
That's it. All right. It's fucking free. I hope you shut it off after 10
You're
minutes.
fucking free. I love you. I love that every time we do this, you mention that it's fucking free.
Well, look, man. I mean, how offended can you get? How mad can you get? You didn't buy a ticket. Look,
That's
we're doing our best. Like I said, we're gonna
But
be.
send us money.
We're.
But send us money.
I am trying to get some merch up, but
Merch, yes. Hey, somebody asked us for merch.
We have a lot of people, but we have to like mass print this shit, and
Fuck that.
I'm working on the website. We're working. I work.
Fuck that. We can sell a mug for 75 euros.
No, I told someone. Someone wrote me about a shirt, and I said, if you want to pay 40 euros, I'll send you a shirt. If you want a shirt, 35,
I'll sign it.
40 euros.
I'll sign that
I'll,
shit.
I'll teabag it. Like,
Personalized. I'll dip my dick in
All right.
ink, and then I'll just write my name.
like I said, we're recording these in advance, so fuck it. I got no clever
Fuck
outro.
it. We're out. We're out.
Fuck this shit.
We're out. We're out. We're out.